The absolute betrayal that I felt when Domas pushed our boy Boji over the cliff of Hell's Gate, but how it all ties together is some of the more painful but well-written things I've experienced this year. When he started talking about at the dinner table about would you follow through an order no matter what's given, emotions or not, you don't second guess. Really, I didn't get red flags because they set up this episode to show us that any doubts you might have had of Domas maybe just not caring about Boji, that's false. He clearly cares about him and very much values him and is embracing the kind gestures, like when he went to show him that he's been learning sign language. The fact of the matter is, he broke down in tears, and those felt like legit tears for me. So when he was like doing the maniac laugh after pushing him, I was heartbroken, and I felt betrayed because that's not the character that they were setting up. But to see him upset afterwards and realizing that laugh was him wanting to die, and I mean, there's a good argument that he should die for that. And I feel like if this show is going to go in the direction I think, because Boji's going to be okay. We've seen him fall down a spike trap of death and was able to outmaneuver it. I think he'll be okay, but it doesn't change the fact that it's heartbreaking to know one of your closest, and your sword master did that to you. But I do think Domas is going to reach a point where when they meet back up with each other, he's probably going to have to give his life for Boji, and hopefully that will be like the redemption arc between those two. And I know there's just going to be a lot of hate thrown towards Domas, traitorous bastard, this and that. I completely agree. At the same time, though, you have to realize the time period we're in and the idea of not going against orders. That's the type of person you want as like your higher up kind of yes man, because had this been Boji sitting on the throne and he gave the order to kill his brother, and had, Domas loved someone like Daida, he has to accept the order no matter what. That's the difference between someone who fits the royalty kind of selection process and those who are traitors, bastards from their point of view. It's, don't get me wrong, painful as shit, but I think the way they wrote it and the way they directed it in this episode, really getting a sense of he loved Boji, to them that setup with the would you follow through an order no matter what, the assassination with Bebin, no real surprise, Snake Man's alive and kicking, but the fact that he called him out, I thought he was going to fight him. I didn't expect that they would have a conversation off screen. That is excruciating pain after another 10 out of 10 episode of Anime of the Year quality. Ranking of Kings is just such a thrilling, compelling, emotionally gripping, flawless production. The backdrops of these hand-painted scenes, the expressive character models of a character who hardly has any vocal range, but expresses so much with his bubbly and energetic performances. The way he eats, the way he learns, the way he grows, and the way he can connect to so many different souls and minds alike, that even a crazy hunter bastard who might have actually literally ate Boji if he stayed around a little too long, he was able to bond with him and learn about the spirit of like reincarnation and the idea of getting more blessings for hunters so more animals would be out there, the idea of life and death in that cycle. Boji is a character who is a very carefree, and he is a kid. He wanders off, he gives gold to a play, and in return gets robbed because of that. But at the same time, Boji is a character who, like with the dream sequence with Daida at the end, he is resilient and he gets back up no matter how many times he's pushed down. And with how many disabilities and people going against him, it's no real surprise that someone who's still alive at this point is probably the strongest, while also being simultaneously the most kind-hearted, because he knows what pain is. He knows what it's like to be cruel, so he would never be cruel right back. I'm sure he would give a hug to Domas if he met him again, and would ask for forgiveness in that way. But at the same time, he's growing in such a believable way that I'm really happy that he's fitting his age range of being distracted by a butterfly and then in return falling into a hunter's trap, but at the same time is resilient enough that he's actually gaining his own skills, like training with the snakes and things like that. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen, because his sign language person, right, he's probably either he's not going to believe Domas or he's going to not want to back off. If that happens, would he try to kill him? If not, then he's probably going to try to run and save him, something like that. But it's very painful that someone who clearly loved Boji, ended up getting an order he couldn't refuse. And yes, there's definitely characters who I think wouldn't go with the order. I think the Queen's one of them for sure. And yes, I do think that makes them better people. But the way they're writing this time period from night codes to the idea of not taking, like seriously, this is a time period where if a king told you to kill your son because, well, he doesn't like him, either you kill your son or you die. And unfortunately, most people would go with the king's order in a time period like this, and it'd only be a select few who wouldn't. And those, in the case of ranking of kings, are those devotedly loyal to someone like Boji. And man, I expect we're going to meet Kage pretty soon, because that's the only character who I could see traveling with Boji, coming from basically Satan's hell pit of death. But then again, who knows, right? I mean, they're really breaking it down in believable ways. And the fact of the matter is, I really believe at this point, his brother here, I really don't think Daida is gonna be the direction I think they were going to originally. Clearly, the magic mirror is corrupting him. I wouldn't be shocked if no one knew about the mirror, and that's something that's been warping his mind for some time. It does seem like he generally does have a form of love for Boji, given that his dream for the most part was actually like leaning on him for support before the mirror kind of like twisted and corrupted even more and seemingly opened Pandora's box. To the point that apparently you can actually take the previous king's power for yourself. We see that he wanted to use his own powers by himself. He wanted to use his own potential. Got a very bad ranking for the ranking of kings. I think it was like in the 90s, so he's not respected. He's still trying his best, but that corruption, that evil voice in your ear, is making it so he's going to make a lot of bad and probably evil choices. But it seems like they might go the direction of Boji being his kind of saving grace and pulling him away from the darkness, and maybe there'll actually be a genuine brother connection before the show's over, rather than going in the typical evil brother, heroic brother, and then one beats the other and either is dead or in prison for life. There's a lot of things that you would think are playing by traditional rules, but are completely going in unique and fascinating directions, which has my mind racing for the type of potential that this show has. It's really going to be interesting, though, because when Kage does pop back into the mix, he's going to be informed of what Domas did, and I'm curious because we know that his species can be very good assassins. Would he then in return try to kill his swordmaster? Like, there's a potential like drama that's going to pop up that I don't think my emotions are quite ready for. And that has me like in a mixture of excitement, because that type of pain makes for really great narrative storytelling. But on the flip side, I'm not ready to cry my eyes out, so I guess we'll see where it takes us. We're only a month into Ranking of Kings, and it's seriously unlike anything I've ever experienced, and is easily going to be one of my all-time favorite anime that I rewatch multiple times. And as soon as a Blu-ray is announced, I will be pre-ordering it hands down. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, though, on this week's Ranking of Kings episodes, your theories, your speculations. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.